The work of Lucis Trust is carried out through its arcane school of the occult and world goodwill. Together, they carry out what is termed the Plan, which is revealed in 24 books written by Bailey and published by Lucis Trust. Bailey claims Jua Kul, her ascended master, actually wrote the books through her using automatic writing while she was in a trance. Ascended masters, according to Theosophy, are superhuman beings who are part of an exalted hierarchy of demigods that secretly guide the affairs of humanity. This is from Michael S. Kaufman, PhD, Discerning the Times. Also from the same doctor who studied and detailed this movement, the focus of the plan is to usher in the, quote, harmonic convergence, also known as the Omega, mind convergence, fusion or turning point. The momentous event represents the point in time when man evolves or leaps forward into his higher self and becomes one with the cosmos and the web of life. This can occur only when nations put aside their differences in a, quote, new world order. A new world order. A piece of this puzzle that I'd forgotten about for a really long time. With so many other facts coming out, I forgot about a video that I did in April that had nothing to do with all this other crap. This is, part from my other content where I would go out on the internet and find these mysteries that seem to have real world implications. One of them was a big group of researchers that were trying to show people that this whole New World Order plan, because we've heard like Reagan mention it, we've heard other big politicians, presidents mention this new world. We've heard people, world leaders from other countries mentioning this, the world order. And then I realized that the people on the Chans were trying to point us towards this Lucis Trust publishing company that basically a long time ago in the 30s started putting out books. It's almost like so they could undermine everything that people were trying to do to prevent a new world order. Into this really quick, and then listen to what I connect it to. Started following the breadcrumbs through the streets of New York City. I had no idea it would lead through underground tunnels and chambers and out a manhole dead in the center of the United Nations. Wonderland becomes the new world. If you followed me so far in my previous 3 videos, we uncovered many revelations involving a skyscraper in New York, on 666 Fifth Avenue to be exact. And I'm not going to go back into those details, but on the 6th floor, a company resided there for a long time named Lucis Trust. Lucis Trust is a non-profit started in 1922 by Alice Bailey. Remember that name? We will come back to it later. Lucis Trust published 24 or more books concerned with, quote, esoteric philosophy published under Bailey's name, but also they funded activities concerned with establishing, quote, right human relations. They accomplished these goals with the Arcane School, a school for esoteric training, world goodwill, triangles. Listen to me, stick with me on that one. It's strange, but I'll describe it down below here in a minute. The Beacon magazine, and of course, the publishing company itself. All of this information from Wikipedia. A lot of people say that this company is evil, and they use a first major example to prove this. They say that this company worships Lucifer. And the craziest part about this whole thing is that fact is true. Now, it may not be in the way you're thinking, because they look at Lucifer like he sacrificed himself, being like the #1 angel in charge, to represent evil down here. He knew that every good man would hate him, but he made that sacrifice. Is that true or is it false? Because it seems to go against everything that people are taught about modern religion, at least in the United States. I can't speak to that fact, but I do know this. The Lucis Trust books spawned this modern New Age movement that has to do with the event. And there's a reason why it did. Because it teaches that light from the galactic center of our galaxy, or I think it teaches that souls reside out in the galaxy. It's almost like we die here and go out there and then come back down here. And since that's true, and in the galactic center of the galaxy, I know we're going far out there. This is what I read. This could be completely wrong. This was from a video about the event, okay? But since the galactic center contains all knowledge, that this ray of light is eventually going to shine down and wake up all of humanity. There's a problem in that way of thinking, though. And the problem is, the only thing that backs this up is a lot of human beings speaking this. Like recent human beings, not ancient ones, not 2,000 years ago prophets speaking it, but up to the now. Where does this factor into all the other things that we've been talking about, though? Why am I playing a part of a video that I did back in April? Because it reminded me of God's Truth War video, QAnon post website ran by occultists, where he shows through real evidence, through real proof, that the people running the QAnon websites worship Lucifer, they talk to the dead, they sold apps that talk with the dead. You got to watch this whole thing by God's Truth War. I've been trying to get people to watch it over and over and over. I can't believe it only has like 2,000 views up to now. This thing should have 100,000 views. I hope he has the tags done right so that a lot of people can find it, but listen.
Once again, I'm looking for the normal.
Truth War isn't asking this. He's reading what these guys said before they opened up the Q websites. Now, if you want to know all about it, you can go watch his video. He's got a lot of great points. He's got a lot of real data pulled. What is this trying to say? It's almost like this idea of trusting the plan goes back to Lucis trust. And it reminded me of this thing in Reader's Digest. So let's look at this and tell me if this doesn't spark any thoughts in your head. With this was never the case, but in reality it is very true. Also in 1982, in an edition of Reader's Digest, this same company put the Great Invocation into the pages, asking people to join the millions who daily use this prayer to invoke, quote, peace on earth. Now here's the weird part. 1982, things were a lot different than they are now. No internet. And in Reader's Digest, now one of these magazines was in the homes of like every person I went to. You open it up and you get to this. Go to the big billboard so you can see it. So here's the problem with the Great Invocation. So this was in the Reader's Digest in 1982. Has to do with Lucis Trust wanting people to wake up and read this prayer, which is kind of weird because it's not a Christian prayer. It's kind of strange that Reader's Digest let them put this in, at least in the atmosphere of back then. This was during the satanic ritual abuse scare of the 80s, which was way worse than it is now on YouTube. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. This all comes from Lucis Trust and Bailey's teachings from the 30s, and even before with the people they worshipped. From the point of love within the heart of God, let the love stream forth into the hearts of men, and may Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, and the purpose of which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let life, love, and power restore the plan. Restore the plan. Now look at this bottom part. The Great Invocation belongs to all humanity. Will you join the millions who daily use this prayer to invoke peace on earth? Become a co-worker in God's plan, for only through humanity can the plan work out. I'm starting to see some issues already. And I'm seeing a blind faith to trust a plan that we can't understand. It's not properly explained. The plan that's been spoken of since the 30s through the books published by Lucis Trust is unexplained fully. They expect you to read prayers trust it and embrace it before you're even told what it really is. And then if you go buy the books that this points to and read it, they're trying to get you to worship Lucifer. I'm not lying. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is pure fact. Pure fact. I have the book. One of my viewers sent me the books of the Lucis Trust books. They bought them and sent them to me because they wanted me to have them to use as source material to show you guys what I was trying to say about them. You know what the other plan is that's come up recently? And then if you watch this video, ran by occultists, I do think God's Truth War proves that it's ran by occultists, and that the whole trust the plan idea completely changes when you realize that ever since the 30s, Lucis Trust has been publishing books and asking you to trust their plan. The other part of this is if you've seen my series on Wonderland, it's just what I called it, right? Because of the initial website I brought it from said, "Are you ready to see Wonderland?" was the first line. So I just called my series Wonderland. Here's the issue there. That series proves, not conspiratorially, like admitted by the United Nations, that they established schools in every nation where the United Nations assisted aid to those nations. They built schools that taught Lucis Trust's books agenda, which is, admittedly, by the people that built the schools, by the United Nations, by Lucis Trust, by the people that wrote the prayer and put it in the 1982 Reader's Digest, where they ask you to trust the plan. The plan is to worship Lucifer, 100%. I don't know what you believe or what your religion is. I'm not telling you this from the perspective of religion. I'm telling you this from the perspective of fact. I'm not trying to scare you. I don't want you to get mad and flip out. I just want you to be educated on what it is.